We will see the chance for a few strong thunderstorms on Thursday through Florida. I'm certified meteorologist Jonathan Kegas, and in this video, we are going to talk about the risk area and who has the best shot to see some stronger thunderstorms on Thursday. We're also going to look at where the storm is now and how it's developing. This is the same system we've highlighted in previous videos on why this is likely not going to get a name. It looks like it could, certainly from a satellite perspective, but it's likely not going to. We're going to break all of that down over the next few minutes. Before we get into the video, if you do want to stay updated this hurricane season, you have to hit subscribe. So make sure you hit that button. And if you find this content informative, if you like it, hit that thumbs up button too. We really appreciate that. All right, so getting into Thursday, our main risk area at this time, and I want to kind of caution this. I do think we are going to see the level of the severe threat go up a little bit from the Storm Prediction Center. Those are the folks that are issuing outlooks like this. We'll break all that down. And it also could expand. The current outlook, though, has mainly the I-4 corridor and then points to the north and west. It's everybody in the green. That's that marginal, that 1 out of 5 on the severe weather scale. That means that we're going to have thunderstorms around and on a marginal scale. These are going to be marginally severe. So getting close to potentially 1 inch size hail, close to 60-mile-per-hour winds, and then that outside shot of a few brief tornadoes too. And I do think that threat for a few tornadoes are going to be there as well. And I will show you why that is a little bit later on in in this video. First of all, I want to show you kind of the timeline and the scope of the potential for these stronger thunderstorms. I'm going to start this off on Wednesday evening at 6 o'clock. And just some Houston showers around. Now, most of this is going to be beneficial, but again, for your commute home from work, there's Wednesday evening, still some very heavy rain in South Florida. And Miami, in particular, extreme Southeast Florida, we've taken it on the chin with some really, really heavy rains. We can dial back the rain in Southeast Florida, where we can still use the rain, of course, really most of the Florida Peninsula, including Southwest Florida through Central Florida. We are bone dry. But anyway, commute home from work, going to be dodging some light to moderate rain. Don't think there's going to be widespread thunderstorms around. Now, here is the overnight. Most of the heavy rain in Florida going to be tied to the Panhandle and then towards the North Gulf Coast. Watch what happens as we get into Thursday morning. We're going to start to pop a few scattered thunderstorms, and on an isolated scale, these could be on the stronger side. I do think the higher potential, though, for some stronger thunderstorms will be later in the afternoon as we can generate some instability with the heating of the day. And then as we move into the early evening, so here we go, 5, 6 o'clock. Certainly, this is where you want to be weather aware. You need a way to get your warnings. Pinpoint Weather app is a great tool, free download, to make sure that you are prepared for any kind of warnings that may be issued by the National Weather Service. So here we go. This is 5 to 6 o'clock. And look at these dark red and purple little guys here, these kind of multi-cell clusters, as we call them, of some thunderstorms. Each one of these clusters could be producing some isolated damaging wind gusts, again, pushing 60 miles an hour. Certainly some really heavy rain and lightning. Also the potential for some small hail in these. And then as we get into the evening hours, also the shot for a few brief tornadoes. What we have going on here, we do have a warm front kind of draped across central Florida and really off the east coast of Florida. This is going to provide an area of enhanced wind shear, some turning of the winds with height. We'll show you dynamically what is going on in just a couple of minutes to kind of enhance this threat. Again, it's not a high threat by any means. I want to be clear about that, but it's not zero. So there we go, that warm front. That is going to be acting as a focal point to get thunderstorms going and to help them potentially spin a little bit to create that rolling motion in the atmosphere for those storms to take advantage of. So we're going to get all into that. There's 9 o'clock at night, still dealing with a few thunderstorms, really clinging right to the east coast of Florida by this time. For the most part, other than a lingering thunderstorm, I do think that threat is going to start winding down into interior central Florida. So again, this is the risk for Thursday. This is going to be April 13th. The damaging wind threat certainly going to be there. Again, these aren't sky high by any means, but that threat is going to be there. So that medium high shot, again, damaging winds, large hail potential going to be there. Heavy rain, no doubt, going to be the main threat. There's going to be a lot of moisture in the atmosphere for these storms to work with. Lightning threat going to be elevated. And then there's a tornado threat. It's low, but it's not zero. I mentioned about component number 1, and we're going to get into that component a little bit further in just a minute. But the secondary component to why that tornado threat is not zero, and this is also going to show into why this is not going to get a name. So there's a lot going on here. So if you have any questions, post those in the comments below, and I will get back to you. Here is our big upper low. It's kind of spinning right along the North Gulf Coast. You see these winds, these arrows here at about 15 to 20,000 feet above your head out of the southwest. So at the surface of the Florida Peninsula, right along that warm front, we are going to have winds out of the southeast. 15 to 20,000 feet above our head, they're going to be out of the southwest. So that's going to create that rolling motion. So anytime we get these kind of stronger thunderstorms, these bigger updrafts where we can generate that instability with the heating of the day on Thursday, they're going to have the potential to create that rolling motion and to possibly producing a few brief tornadoes. Now, again, we're lacking a lot of other ingredients, but certainly we have enough there to generate that. This little bowling ball, if you will, going to continue to roll onto the Gulf Coast and kind of pull our surface low going forward. So I'm kind of bouncing all around here. There's a lot going on dynamically with this, but we're going to have the shot again for these thunderstorms to spin a little bit, to maybe produce a few brief tornadoes, and that is going to be right along that warm front here as it lifts up. So the low at the surface is going to be towards Jackson, Mississippi, drifting up into the Mississippi River Valley, while we have this warm front kind of extended over north central Florida towards the east coast of Florida. And it's right along this front where we do have that southeasterly wind. That will be really our lone shot. Those storms right along that front potentially produce, again, a few brief tornadoes. That storm is then going to move off our coast, and then a weak cold front going to blast through. All right. So now if you've been hanging around with us, I mentioned earlier in the video about there's been a lot of stuff on social media, and I talked about this in a previous video, and this was likely not going to get a name. It had an outside shot to be subtropical, but if anybody's still talking about that, they're just trying to get clicks. Okay, here's why. We do have a few swirls, so a really cool satellite imagery we have on the high-resolution visible satellite. See a little swirl right here at the surface? There's another little guy. Watch it out here. You can see the blow-up of thunderstorms, and then a little swirl right underneath that. There's a couple of little these mesovortices, as we call them. The main upper low with this, and I'll show you again in the water vapor imagery, I'm going to go forward to go back, is hanging out towards Houston, towards the Louisiana, Texas line. In order for a storm to really start organizing tropically, you need to have things stacked. I always talk about like a stack of pancakes. No fun when your pancakes are falling off the plate. You need them to be nice and stacked for it to really take advantage of the warmer waters. And these waters are really warm. It's helping to fuel these isolated thunderstorms way back here. That's what these blue and orange colors are. That's the amount of moisture in the atmosphere. When you get to that color, there's a lot of moisture out there. But anyway, our main upper low is right here. We're going to go back to the visible satellite imagery, and where we could have developing surface low is way out here. And way over here and way over here. These are little mesovortices likely not going to be involved. But we're watching right in here for that surface low. So you have your upper level low way up there. Surface low way up there. And as I mentioned also with the fronts involved, this is likely screaming a non-tropical area of low pressure, which we get all the time. Again, it does not have to be tropical in nature to create impact. And again, the water vapor imagery really telling the story here is this kind of dives down over the warmer waters of the Gulf of Mexico. That surface low going to develop right up in here and then kind of lift up. But it's that warm front again that we are watching for the potential for some stronger thunderstorms through central and north Florida, especially as we move through the afternoon and evening on Thursday. Thank you guys a ton for watching this video. If you found it informative, if you like this, please give this a thumbs up. Certainly, if you want to stay updated on the weather, hit that subscribe button. Hit that thumbs up. Again, we really appreciate that. And we will catch you next time. Make sure you have a way to get your warnings on Thursday. I mentioned it earlier. Pinpoint Weather app is a great tool. It's a free download. It'll track storms right to your location. It'll give you lightning alerts as well. That is extremely critically important, especially as we get deeper into the summer months. We start firing up those daily storms. And then again, if any watches or warnings are issued, they're going to go right to your phone instantly. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.